There are clients that are going to be more successful than others in working with this type of methodology. So I would like for me to understand, and everyone else that's listening, who is and who's not successful with I'm not mad at you. And I know you're laughing a little bit because we all have those stories.
Yeah.
But there was one individual that kind of set you down this path.
Yeah.
And he challenged you.
Yeah.
He actually said, hey, looking at the people that you work with, what determines success?
This client was just a few months ago. And, at that point, we're 3 years old. So we've got some history behind us. And he was very point blank, as you said. And he looked right at me and he asked, what will make this work versus it not working? And I can honestly tell you 2 years ago, 6 months ago, 18 months ago, we couldn't answer the question. I would have come up with an answer. I'm in sales. So I would have given him some answer, but it wouldn't have been as definitive as the answer that day I told him. I looked point blank on the Zoom, as we do these days. And I said to him, it's simple. You're either going to listen to us and it's going to work, or you're not going to listen to us. It's not going to work and we're going to fire you. And we're at that point now with our clients that we say, look, if you're not a success story, you're not going to be a case study after some period of time working with us, we're going to fire you.
So give me an example of that then, because, we talk about theoretically, but I know you're brimming. I know you're itching to tell me one.
We have a lot of examples. We've been doing this for a minute. We've had a lot of clients. One comes to light. It was a very early client. They were a construction company. So this company had come to me to help boost their pipeline, their marketing efforts, get more business, more phone calls, more emails, more inquiries to I think they remediated water leaks and hazards and things like that. So we came up, it was pretty obvious, marketing plans and strategies are not terribly difficult. And to be fair, I don't care if you're the biggest company in the world and you're Fortune 100 company, or if you're a startup company, the tactics are actually the same.
Okay.
Sales outreach is the same. It really doesn't matter what size your company. Now, the sophistication of your outreach becomes much more, difficult, and your tentacles and the amount of people that you're talking to grows. But the steps never change with outreach.
Okay.
So we worked with this company from day one. We need to refresh your website. If we're going to be getting attention to your company and trying to draw customers, your website's not even live. So we've got to get that live and running.
Oh my gosh.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then we need to do some type of, email campaign. Let's talk to existing clients that we've talked to because they had a good experience with you. Let's, the different tactics that we had come up with over 6 months. We really, learned where they were at, saw what their revenue looked like, saw where their opportunities were, and built a strategic plan. And every week I would go in and they had a whiteboard, and we would add tasks that in this relationship, I was there to help strategize and they were there to execute. Every week we'd follow up. The list was getting longer and longer, right, of the task, the outreach task that they were going to be doing. I'm coming back each week and they're not following up. And this is my second client. I'm not familiar with how far to push people. You come in, they haven't done what they've done. They're telling you about the 15 operational things that are happening right there. So you're trying to be sensitive to it. So about 7 months goes by. They bring me in their office. They sit me down and they're real stern, and they're looking at me and they are about to tell me that, things aren't working out and that they don't believe I've done, my job. The beauty was we were in the office with the whiteboard where it was right there, just like this TV was. And I turned towards that whiteboard. They never erased anything. Every single thing from 7 months is on that whiteboard. All of it. And there are so many notes. I had to write so small. I write small to begin with. But I had to write so small. And then we had the name of the person who was assigned the task. There's 2 gentlemen that ran the company, right? Nothing had been done. Not one thing. So I just point to the whiteboard and I say, your problem isn't with me. In fact, I'm out. Because you two have chosen not to do one single thing on this list that we mutually agreed upon as your consultant for this company to be successful. Stood up, walked out. That's the beauty of my life. I'm not mad. I told you what to do.
Yeah.
I gave you all the help. You could have done it. You chose not to. Nobody's mad. I'm just out of here.
So when you look at other clients and in your path and experiences, I mean, have you ever run into one where they just weren't in the right space, capacity to actually execute?
So I worked with this client, and I had worked with a previous construction client who did a really good job of looking at profitability by job. They broke out every job, and they said if we bought a can of paint, they made sure that can of paint got expensed against the specific job that it was there to be bought for. So they were very diligent about it. Then you could see profitability by job. So you could see like, wow, they're really profitable when they do painting jobs. They are not profitable when they do striping in parking lots. It is a waste of time. Okay? So you could start breaking out like, this is, if I'm in construction, you know what I should be? I should be marketing to painting jobs. But see, this is stuff, if you're a construction company owner, when did you learn marketing? Right. When did you learn to break down your business like that? When did you learn to figure out that you make all your money in that? But they did do a good job with that profitability by job. So I wanted to bring that lesson to this new construction client. So I give him the template. I show him how to do it. We build a template for him. So all he has to just fill out. He's just got to fill it out, right? Month after month after month goes by. I keep saying, let me see the profitability by job. Let me see. He can't produce it, And with him, I will tell you, I was a lot nicer with him because I felt like he needed to be built up. Okay. So I did not go the traditional, God, why haven't you finished it? What's wrong with you? What's your deal? I really was, and he kept asking me, he said, please be hard on me. I'm like, it won't do me any good to be hard on you. And I kept telling him, I'm like, it's not going to do any good for me to scream and yell at you like I do other clients because capacity is already a challenge for you. So I'm trying to lift you up. I've given you the template, I'm not going to do it for you. And I mean, month after month, we worked together for 12 or 15 months. Before and after COVID, he came back after COVID, But to your point, at the end of the day, he didn't have the capacity. Be it time, priority, nothing I was going to ever say was going to make him make that a priority in his business. Because I just don't think that at this time in his life, he has the capacity to do that task. So, we say this black and white statement of like, oh, it's going to work if they listen to us, and it's not going to work if they don't listen to us. And nothing's black and white. In certain cases, truly, this person I know, if he ever chose to do profitability by job and make his business better, he can. And he has the tool, and he's been taught the tool. So it's not gone. And what he learned from us is still there. It will become a matter of one day he's going to wake up and he's going to decide he wants to be better.
Now let's shift it over to another example we talked about where, this individual had full confidence in themselves and they're the opposite type of personality, it sounds like.
Total capacity. This individual is extremely talented, extremely bright, extremely driven. But in that confidence of being extremely bright and extremely driven, she had a very good sense of where she wanted to go. She brought us on board initially to assess her company. The company was running pretty smoothly. There wasn't a great deal to tear up. We recommended a few things for them to do. We wanted to ensure that they created standard operating procedures for the business. It was something that we ran through the drill and did. In that process, while we were doing that, I pointed out to the owner that I feel like there's some opportunity here, that you're a little operations heavy and there's not enough time on sales and outreach. But because the company was really successful, she didn't have to listen, right? Because it was working. And I don't know enough about her business to be the expert in event planning. So I don't know operationally if that's the way you should do it. But it immediately, we saw a bell go off that there's probably room for opportunity here. But we let it go because the customer and the business and the P&L did not demand we focus our attention there. But it was brought up. After that initial assessment, she brought us on board to create a concept. She had a brilliant idea outside of her current company. So it was like, look, I don't probably need a lot of help with my current company. And she didn't. Let's go concept this. And I want your brain to use to concept. There we go, marching. We get our first call to have the concept call. And her idea was revolved around whether it be a physical location or if you wanted to help more people, be a web platform. The very first call, I tell her, I said, this is never going to work as a physical location. This is a web idea. This is a Facebook. This is an Instagram. Your idea is so good, but it is not a physical location. This is on day one of us concepting. She's not having it. We do focus groups. We spend 90 days, 120 days. We build a pitch deck. We do, evaluate numbers, finances, economics. We get through the financial modeling, and still the numbers aren't working. I keep, now we're 90 days into it. I'm like, these numbers still don't work. It's so expensive. It's going to cost you $10 million to build this building, right? The numbers, no investor is going to get their money back for so long. She's really committed to it. So she takes some time, and she has a very good circle. She's a very smart person about getting advice, and she has a tremendous circle of influence and people that she goes to. And I think she goes and has a couple conversations with people that she trusts, and she shows them the pitch and the concept and goes through it. And it probably needs to be a web platform, not a physical location. And I'm like, oh my God. You again, because everything's on Zoom nowadays. You're staring them in the eyes, and you're like, really? Really? You don't say? No, a physical location is too
Okay.
cumbersome. So, you have to apply, I'm not mad at you. So fast forward with the same client, and we laughed and we chuckled, and you
Another I'm not mad at you moment.
100%.
With all these three that we've highlighted today, what was your ultimate, I'm not mad at you lesson learned then, if you could summarize it?
With this last story I'm telling you, because when I was being tough on her, and it was tough, I wasn't mad at her. I was really, really mad at me, and I expressed that to her. I made sure she understood that. I said, can we edit that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you at all. I'm mad at me. I'm really, really mad at me, because I wish that I had been able to convey in a way that you would have heard me better, so that you could have listened, so that we wouldn't be 10 months down the road with you being where you're at today. So I had to apply, and I remember thinking that in this situation, I had to apply it not to my client, but to myself. And it was a huge growing, this just happened. This is live. This is a week ago or 2 weeks ago that this has happened. So,
fresh wound.
I had to apply it to myself, and I had to think about how I was going to tell, this was all happening before. We have the calls weekly. So I remember thinking, I'm not mad at her. I'm really mad at me, and what am I going to learn from this to make sure that I'm heard better moving forward for my clients, so that I can make sure that they are better as a result of working with I'm Not Mad at You.